Murloc Geniuses with the first pick, first ban, going to deny the thrall.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to deny that thrall. We saw it a whole bunch yesterday, and especially from Bob Ross fan club too, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Really, really well done.
The games can kind of run together so far. Wow, coming out pretty fast too. Toronto going to be banned by Bob Ross fan club. Very consistent with what we've seen all day, with all weekend really, with an exception of a couple of series. Murloc Genius is going to pick up that first comfort pick for them, grabbing the first pick of Zagara.
Yeah, Murloc Genius has been running Zagara since her release. I mean, Faye has always been one of the biggest fans of Zagara. I mean, she was one of the few players running her when she first initially came out. She wasn't one of the higher tier heroes when she released back in the alpha, but Faye always has grasped onto her, and it fits Murloc Genius' playstyle very, very well.
Speaking of fitting playstyle very, very well, Bob Ross fan club are going to grab their first pick of Murden. Murden being the top thought of as the top warrior right now in the current meta, but then on top of that, the ability to give aggression to the team with all of the stuns, with all of the slows too, and you can really add to that with other heroes too. Their second pick should be coming out here very shortly.
Yeah, Bob Ross fan club loves aggression. Murden is great for that. Can't see who they are paired with just yet, but the next two picks from Murloc Geniuses, they've got a lot of options on the table.
That pick could be Kael'Thas.
Could be Kael'Thas. We saw Zuna's Kael'Thas yesterday.
Very good.
Really, really good. And synergizing well with the stuns from ETC. From that power slide, Urho was landing multiple times that game. And we'll see what it's going to be here. And it was Kael'Thas. It was Kael'Thas. A good call there, Gilly. I mean, Zuna looked fantastic on him yesterday. Taking a look at the next two picks from Murloc Genius is going to be Uther, Mad Timion Uther, one of his favorite heroes in the game. What will their next pickup be? Will we see that early ETC for Fury, or they're going to guarantee Equinox one of his favorite bruisers as Sonya is still on the table?
Yeah, I could easily see that Sonya pickup, especially with the denial of Thrall, wanting to really keep both of those on their side and limit the aggression that Bob Ross fan club can throw out with those. But McIntyre does love Kerrigan. Would they want to bring her out on Battlefield of Eternity, though?
I spent some times with Murloc Geniuses last night. They studied the games of Bob Ross played versus C9, and they did see that Bob Ross does have a weakness. They've seen that it can be exploited. So they studied that draft very, very hard. They've got drafts planned out. They've got strategies planned out. They've got maps planned that they want to bring Bob Ross to. They've worked very hard last night to prepare for this matchup, and they're going to go ahead and lock in that Raynor. Murloc Geniuses knows exactly what they want.
All right, Raynor, after careful consideration, dipping into the time pool just a little bit, it will be nice to have the Raynor should Bob Ross start to go for a more frontline heavy, aggressive style, especially if they're maybe looking at a bunch of frontline and then having Kael'Thas in the back. Raynor can help burn them down with the Giant Killer. Moving into the second phase of bans, Bob Ross has a warrior and could take out another warrior, limiting what Fury could pick from in his pool.
Yeah, we'll see if they want to either deny the Joanna or the ETC. No, they're going to go ahead and deny the Kerrigan, as they know Equinox really, really loves those melee assassins.
Yeah, and Kerrigan is not only a melee assassin that Equinox loves, but Kerrigan is his favorite, I believe, of the melee assassins. He really enjoys Kerrigan. He has a whole different style of play and build than a lot of other people who play Kerrigan right now.
You can see Fury and Equinox there in the bottom left chatting back and forth as they're thinking very hard on what they want to ban out. Do they potentially want to deny the Sonya for McIntyre? That would limit the melee assassin pool down to only a few heroes. Artanis considered a bruiser. Zeratul still an option as well. You've got the Butcher as well. So we'll have to see if they're going to stay to their roots. I mean, most of the time when you see Murloc Genius and Bob Ross, they always have one of those melee assassins, those bruiser type characters. And if it gets banned out, if Sonya gets denied here by Murloc Geniuses, I'm curious as to how much they're willing to commit to that. And there it is. The Sonya gets denied.
This is really cool for Murlocs, but they do, like you mentioned before, they also have one of those bruiser players in Equinox. So what is their plan here? When we don't see him on that, a lot of times or at least sometimes we've seen him on a Nova, but I don't know if they would be feeling okay with grabbing Nova here with their tournament life on the line.
I believe I've also seen Equinox on Raynor as well as McIntyre.
Okay,
but the Raynor is on Murloc Genius' side, so we'll see what McIntyre's willing to run. I mean, we've seen McIntyre run Zeratul in the past, recently cast him an SEL on that Zeratul. There's a Tassadar as well that McIntyre could end up on. We'll have to see what the last next pickup here for Bob Ross is going to be. They still need their support. We know Kenma is a big fan of both Lieutenant Morales and Karazim.
You know, if they grabbed Zeratul here, they would have the Tassadar with that to be able to provide the vision. So they take that tool away from Murloc Geniuses in that regard. It could be a potential there. But looking at what else they say, like you said, we need the support as well as some sort of damage if it's not going to be the Zeratul.
Yeah, it would be weird for Bob Ross to go double warrior here. With the Tassadar, Leoric might be a little bit too low, and it will be the Kharazim. We saw Kenma play Kharazim yesterday. It was very, very strong, and we saw him multiple times going Divine Palm over the 7-side strikes, where most people in NA only go 7-side strikes. It's only in Europe where Divine Palm is the go-to heroic.
Yeah, Bakery from Europe, known for his Divine Palm play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Starting to have it more here in the NA with that Kenma. Now Murloc Genius has 2 picks left, Warrior of some type for Fury, and we'll finally see. So Tyrael is going to be out, and then Vala.
Interesting decision for Murloc Geniuses to go for the solo Warrior Tyrael. You know, we saw it yesterday. It didn't have the best success, and that was even paired with a Leoric. We did see a pure solo Warrior Tyrael once there. That was when Cognitive accidentally misclicked the Judgment. So that game's kind of hard to judge how valuable it is, but I'm really curious to see how Murloc Genius can play this. This is not a draft they normally run.
Judgment's hard to judge.
Judgment's hard to judge.
Okay, final pick for Bob Ross. Damage of some type here. And I like that they left this last pick as a flex to see what exactly Murloc Geniuses had up their sleeve in case it was going to be something strange. But it is interesting to see the solo Warrior Tyrael, especially with 3 damage dealers, but the 3 damage dealers that they do have, the 3 ranged, all fairly safe in that Raynor and Vala, Zagara being the one that could potentially have some issues there, but we've got Vault for Vala, and then Raynor has the increased range and can always kite back, has penetrating round 2 to try to push people back.
Whoa,
Sergeant Hammer!
Sergeant Hammer picked up by Bob Ross Fan Club, and I like this draft so much from Bob Ross. They have no hard engage. If Tyrael goes Judgment, the rest of the damage lineup is ranged. They have to move very far to get in range of the Hammer, and with that extended range, with the talent she can get, this is such a beautiful draft from Bob Ross. I love this Hammer pickup.
I am so pumped because we do not get to see Sergeant Hammer very often. Bob Ross Fan Club immediately coming out the gates with something new, something super exciting on Battlefield of Eternity.
Well, we're going to see how they're going to be able to play it out. I'm so hyped to see who's going to be on it. I'm assuming it's going to be Zuna on Kael'thas, McIntyre playing the Tassadar, and then it's going to be Fan playing the Sergeant Hammer. We'll see who's running up that lineup when we get into the game. Wow, what a cool draft from Bob Ross. It makes so much sense, especially on this map. I've seen Hammer run before recently. It was on this map. And guys, the countdown has begun. We are getting ready for game number 1. I know all the fans are super excited for this matchup. Murloc Genius has been a fan favorite for a very long time, clashing up against Bob Ross Fan Club.
Another fan favorite in that too. Hopefully we'll get 3 awesome games between these two, but for now we're about to load into Battlefield of Eternity, and we'll see which team will be on which side.
Well, spawning on the left-hand side of the map in the blue trunks, it's going to be Murloc Geniuses. Equinox playing the Vala, Mad Timmy on Uther, Faye playing the Zagara, Tyrael played by Fury, and Cothenluck playing Raynor.
And in the red trunks, Bob Ross Fan Club with Zuna playing Sergeant Hammer, Fan on Kael'thas, Airho playing Muradin, Kenma, of course, playing Kharazim, and finally McIntyre, as you mentioned, on Tassadar.
Really, really interesting draft here from Bob Ross. We haven't seen Sergeant Hammer played in the NA scene in quite a while. I'm so excited to see how they're going to be able to pull this off here. It's going to be multi-shot build coming out from Vala. Everything else, though, looking pretty normal, Gilly.
Yeah, Advanced Artillery being the general favorite for Sergeant Hammer players because it increases that damage that you do to long-range targets. And the whole idea is that she's going to be super long-range, having Muradin in front, trying to slow people away from being able to catch up to her.
You know, when I actually aggressive rotation here from Urho, just trying to zone out Murloc Genius. But when I studied the drafts of Bob Ross fan clubs, I noted that they have one of the most diverse draft pools, probably the most diverse draft of any team at this event. But I've never once seen a scrim where they've ran Hammer. This is going to be so cool to see Zuna bust this out.
Now, even when you talked to them, it was McIntyre who mentioned that, you know, maybe a Chen. We'll have something fun Chen. Fury taking a lot of damage already, gets hit by gravity lapse, but will be able to get away.
In the top lane, we do have that Tassadar versus the Zagara. Faye very well versed in this matchup, but dealing with the Tassadar, we'll see how well it goes for her. Looked like Urho and Fan were potentially going for a aggressive rotation. Nice outrun smite from Fury to scout out where Fan and Urho were.
It's so annoying as a Zagara player to go up against a Tassadar because, especially with that Oracle constantly taking out. Oh, Gravity Lapse goes out onto Cothenluck. He should be the first blood of the game. Oh, barely staying alive.
Wow,
oh,
but it's going to be the death of Vala instead. Equinox going to go down there. Nice drop from Bob Ross. And look at this aggression in the lane. Zuna sieged up. Kenma, Urho, and Fan going to be able to help him disengage if the collapse comes. And this push is so very strong from Bob Ross.
The tower's already down as well as the gate. They can't do anything about this Sergeant Hammer already, and we're only at level 3.
Well, let's see here what they can do with these shrines. And all it takes is Zuna just getting in a position to siege up. Hammer on this map is so very difficult to deal with without having hard engage, which Murloc Geniuses is lacking. And there's Zuna. He's already sieged up on the point.
And we do have Adrenaline Rush, like Give Me More for Raynor at level 1, increasing the healing of his Adrenaline Rush. So it might be possible that they can say, okay, we've got the Adrenaline Rush, now we can rush in case he is the target. Penetrating round actually going to push Zuna back a little bit out of the range here. They're really trying to protect this, but it's going to be so incredibly hard from Zuna.
Yeah, but a good job from Murloc Geniuses. They're only defending with 3 here as Equinox was soaking that bottom lane. He did rotate up, get caught by Urho. Fan going to rotate down, try and secure his team level 4, and there they have it. They are the first team to get those level 4 talents.
Looks like we have Faye doing the same thing up in the top, trying desperately to get those level 4 too before their team gets into a fight. Equinox and Faye going to start working on Bella here, or at least looks like they'll keep Equinox there, but Fury has taken so much damage already.
Yeah, the Immortal's about to fall here for Murloc Geniuses. We're going to see that split happen. Urho with the aggressive stun onto Faye. Karazim does come in to get a little bit of extra pressure there, but the swap will happen in favor of Bob Ross.
It's scary here for Faye as she doesn't really have very much creep into the mid yet, so doesn't have that movement speed bonus on top of it quite yet. And there we go with the halfway point and a great spawn point for this to happen for Bob Ross.
Zuna's already sieged up here. Fury looking like he wants to make it happen. They are on level 4. Equinox diving in with a nice multi-shot there. They're fighting underneath an Immortal. A lot of AoE damage going down on the Zuna, though. They're going to have to back off. Murloc Geniuses have forced them off the point, but how are they going to be able to burn down the rest of Bob Ross's Immortal?
Now, they can't ever leave, and that's the problem, but then if they split up, then all of a sudden Bob Ross knows about it and can start to move in as soon as they start to see Bella's health bar go down, and it's so difficult because they do have the poke. Zuna already sieged back up. They also have the Task Star to throw out Psionic Storms. Fan occasionally can throw out the Flame Strikes as well, and they're slowly burning Alarian down.
Yeah, he's just about to fall there. Bob Ross fan club with the first Immortal of the game.
Brilliant, too, to pick up the Shaman immediately as soon as they pick that up, too. That's going to be icing on the cake, but it looks like that might be the same case for Vala over on the other side. Oh, no, she was just going back.
Yeah, no Siege can't be, Bruiser can't being picked up by the Murloc Geniuses this game, and a big push in the top lane coming from Bob Ross.
Yeah, push of that, and like we saw in the last game, too, with Infernal Shrines, we can have that in front of those Shaman to keep them safe while they're starting to work on the towers, too, and even once you take out the Immortal, you still have to deal with those Bruisers. It gives you a lot longer to be able to stay in here and start putting pressure on this fort.
About 3/4 of the level lead here for Bob Ross as they're about halfway to level 7 here. Zuna is sieged up. The Immortal's still very healthy, and I think this fort should go down. Bob Ross fan club doing a great job utilizing Sergeant Hammer on this map and should be securing themselves level 7 very, very soon.
Now look at the range already with the Maelstrom Shells too for Zuna, how far back he can sit on that Sergeant Hammer with everyone else in front, even Fan up there to be ready for a Gravity Lapse to help protect Sergeant Hammer, and that's really the name of the game, is protect the hammer when you have one.
Yeah, and Zuna knows how important his life is in these team fights. He goes for first aid at level 7 as well to make sure he's staying alive, keeping himself topped off if he does get caught out of position here, and I love this pickup here from Murden going for the battle momentum.
Yeah, being able to have that reverberation up as well as the thunder burn more often to be able to keep people from being able to fully engage on, slow people down when they're trying to get to that Sergeant Hammer. Everything designed now to keep that hammer alive.
We do have the push coming down here from McIntyre and Fan, just going to put some pressure on this fort. Murloc Geniuses do get 7 of their own. And I like this actual talent pickup from Raynor. It's going to keep them alive a little bit longer because they have to be able to force a fight onto Zuna. They're going to have to dive in deep, and that damage reduction is going to help out a lot. Yeah,
that will be the fight or flight, and that's so nice because it does have, like you said, limits the damage. It applies a resistance, which is so nice. And you can also activate Adrenaline Rush on your own. You don't have to wait to get quite so low.
Yes. A really good pickup there from Koth and Luck there. Faye trying to zone out Zuna, but look at the power of this, and wow, Vala gonna go down. The potential from Zuna here without Siege, he doesn't even have the extended range quite yet, and look at what he's able to do with Sergeant Hammer. Actually, as we do see Mad Timmy getting caught here, a lot of damage go down to him, and he's gonna actually fall too.
And now they're starting to work down that fort on top of it. This is so much pressure on top of Murloc Geniuses and so much experience toward Bob Ross fan clubs working toward level 9, and we've barely gotten into 7 for Murloc Geniuses.
Gravity Labs connects with Fury. He's in an awkward spot. Does Alduran's Might back out of there, though. He's got such great jukes on Tyr. It's one of his favorite heroes, and he plays them very, very well.
We have Cleanse coming out for Uther, even though we do have the Holy Radiance, Boundless Conviction, increasing the range of that. So trying to help with some of the stuns that are available in the toolkit of Bob Ross. They have the Gravity Labs as well as the stuns from Muradin too. So that will hopefully help them out in case somebody gets into a bad position. But unfortunately for them right now, everything's kind of in a bad position.
Well, we do see that Zagar is pushing his top lane. Urho is soaking because his team is so very close to level 10. Zuna is already in position as well, sieged up. And the Immortal is starting to fall. They're getting very close to those heroics. We'll see what Murloc Geniuses can do. I mean, if they're going to force a fight here, they need to make it happen before Bob Ross gets 10.
Yeah, Bailing's starting to come in towards Zuna, and they will push him off of siege mode. That might be their chance to start to go in a little bit, but they're playing rather passively. They've got Raynor Interior still in bottom trying to soak because they know they don't have their heroics, so trying to do what they can to just try to push back Zuna a little bit, but it's just Faye here throwing out the occasional Hunter Killer or Banelings.
Well, the Immortal's about to go down and go for the swap there in the middle, taking a look at the heroics here for Bob Ross. It's going to be Napalm Strike, 7-sided strike. It's going to be Force Wall, Phoenix, and Avatar.
You know, normally when you're down in this, you can a lot of times put the 4 people and then have the 1 person soaking, and because you're underneath the stuns, it's makes it still difficult for your opponents, and you might be able to pick up a kill from that. But with Zuna so far away, and then a strong front line in front, there's just no chance to ever get to Zuna, and the poke down has just been incredible from Sergeant Hammer on those Immortals.
Great job from Urho and Fan to force Murloc Geniuses off of their Immortal. They have more than half of the shield still available for the push, and that is going to be so strong as it is going down that bottom lane in a lane where it's already going on to a keep. We're only 8 minutes into the game, and Bob Ross can be threatening to take the first keep of the game.
Yeah, this is very crazy, and Murlocs need to be careful. They really need their heroic abilities too. Fury in a lot of trouble, going to Eldrin potentially right into Fan, but sees Fan there, and instead going to try to just get away, but sees Arrow too. Now that goes to Eldrin, but jukes away from the Gravity Labs. 7-sided strike comes down, and down goes Tyrael.
He tried his hardest. Fury was doing very good for a while there, but he was just so far out of position, no chance of saving him. And now 15 seconds without their Tyrael, without sanctification. This is going to be a big push here from Bob Ross. They're taking down the front wall, and the left is still very, very healthy.
They have a lot of range damage to try to take the left down as quickly as they can, but Zuna, meanwhile, in the back is just taking the structure down so fast, and now a still full health Immortal on top of the fort, or the keep even. It will be the first keep of the game.
Wow, 9 minutes into the game. They're trying to make the fight happen. Hyperion goes out. A big stray from Equinox. It's just going to force Bob Ross to fall back. The keep fell anyway, though. A huge win for Bob Ross, and I want to take a quick look at the damage done here. Look at the siege damage coming out from Zuna. Already has done 60,000 siege damage.
Wow, that's so impressive. What a great strategy from Bob Ross. This draft has just been incredible for them. They've been able to keep complete control of this game, but we do have heroic abilities finally for Murloc Geniuses, Hyperion, Sanctification, Devouring Maw, Divine Shield, and Strafe. Maybe they can make something happen with that Devouring Maw.
About to have level 13 here. Murloc Geniuses is still 2 levels away. This is going to be a big window of time where Bob Ross has that talent advantage. And the later into the game they go, the harder Sergeant Hammer scales, the more difficult it's going to be for Murloc Geniuses to force these fights.
Yeah, once again, Murlocs will be facing a situation where they probably will be down a talent here and scared to engage into Bob Ross around that Immortal phase, but they're kind of running out of options in that regard. They've already lost a keep. They only have 1 left.
Level 13, a big talent tier here for Bob Ross fan club. They get Giant Killer on Zuna, so he does more damage to this frontline Fury, as well as Chain Bomb on Kael'thas, which is where he gets that immense power spike.
Yeah, it's a huge one, and that means that they're really going to have to make sure they're not clumped up. You don't want to be that anyway because of Sergeant Hammer, anyway, but they really have to make sure that their positioning is sound.
Nice siege up here from Zuna. They're going to be pushing into their second keep. They're going to get this wall down. I mean, what can Bob Ross do, or excuse me, Murloc Geniuses do? They don't have any real hard engage. Fury can go in the outer Smite, but the rest of the team, it's just so long for they can be able to get on top of Zuna there.
Yeah, pressure's down, and they know that this is where the Immortal will be pushing next, so being able to take out the gate and the 2 towers is just fantastic. Murlocs still not able to find the place to engage into this team.
Murloc is in an awkward spot here as they still don't have that level 13 as the Immortals are spawning, giving another huge advantage to Bob Ross Fan Club. We saw with an early Immortal there at 8 minutes, they were able to secure themselves a very quick keep, and it's even longer into the game, making them even stronger.
Yeah, I really like that decision to push there as well, because the whole bottom lane has been pushing with catapults on their own, and there wasn't really time to try to go back and deal with that. So that's going to continue to push, and if they can wipe Murlocs here, it will easily be the end of the game.
The siege damage from Zuna is too much for Murlocs to be able to outrace. They are in advantage right now. We'll see where the swap happens, but it looks like Murlocs is being forced back here. Urho goes to the truck. Nice 7-side strikes in the force wall. Divine Shield used on Mad Timmy. A good sanctification and a big strafe coming out from Equinox. They forced Bob Ross to back off, and they lost nobody.
That is huge to not lose anybody into that initial burst, but they're coming in as well. Hyperion not going to do too much, but it will start to maybe throw a little bit of damage onto Beleth. It's not too far behind, but Zuna still doing so much to Ilarion, and nobody here to stop him. It's going to be a race. Can all of Murlocs, actually no, Tyrael is going to get pushed off.
And going down, and that's going to be a big win for Bob Ross as they save their own Immortal, and then Zuna's going to be able to confirm theirs. And actually, a big collapse going on the Faye, and Equinox Faye is definitely going to go down. Gravity Lapse on Fan, though, and he's going to be able to catch Equinox right before the back end, and Faye going to fall as well. 3 kills secured in this fight, and the Immortal finished off by Zuna.
The Immortal will start to push down toward that final keep for Murloc Geniuses. Level 16 in the sights of Bob Ross Fan Club on top of it, but we may not even get there, although the keep will help significantly with that experience.
Sick game sets from fans showing you why he is a BlizzCon champion. They're catching Equinox out there, and now they have a 3-level lead. As Murloc Genius is about to hit 13, Bob Ross is about to get 6 nice 7-sided strikes there, but Fury is going to outrun my out.
Yeah, Eldarin was down at the perfect time to be able to get out of there, but still a big shield left on Beleth as they start to take down this final keep on the side of Murloc Geniuses. No structures left, and you'll start to work toward the core. Can they do it? Can they pick up the win right here?
Still a lot of health on the Immortal here. We see Hover Siege has been picked up as Zuna as he's moving into core range. They are focused firing it down. Avatar has been popped by Urho. Equinox gets a Divine Shield. Stormbolt misses. Faye being punished back here. Henma doing a good job of keeping everyone topped off, and the shield is falling 90% on the core. Hyperion goes out. A nice 2-man maul from Murloc Jesus. Can they turn this around? Mad Timmy's getting very low. Stun goes down on Equinox, but the core is falling 40%, and everyone is getting so low on Bob Ross, but I think that's going to be it. Yes, the core falls. Bob Ross Fan Club takes game number 1.
With Sergeant Hammer, no less.
Wow. I mean, the moment I saw the hammer pick, I immediately knew that Bob Ross Fan Club won the draft. It was so smart against the composition that Murloc Geniuses drafted with no hard engage. How do you force a fight onto Zuna? He'd even need the graduating range there to help get further distance away. You just can't fight into that at all.
Yeah, there was nothing they could do. The front line of Bob Ross, the rest of them was so incredibly strong. Even having Kael'thas a little bit more forward to have the gravity lapse ready at any point. It was all about just being up in front of Zuna, while Zuna just freely took down the Immortal every single time. And you're right, no engagement ever could, there was no place to even have it for Murlocs.
Murloc Genius just tried to deny the bruisers from McIntyre there. They had themselves this triple range composition. They are forced out of the solo warriors there as ETC, I believe. No, ETC was not banned up. They picked Tyrael on their own. But even then, that would have been so hard. Even with stage dive, I don't know if they would have been able to force a fight there with that triple range composition. I mean, Murloc Geniuses, they got cut off guard by the Sergeant Hammer, but they're still in this set. They just need to clear their heads and go into game number 2 with a fresh start.
Now, last time we saw them on the stage, they were down 1 game versus Tempo Storm, and then they came back with a win on Towers of Doom. So we'll see in the next game if they're able to do something, some sort of similar strategy, and bring it back in this set. But we are going to take a quick break while we get that set up. We'll see you guys very soon.